did show that Canadians are still positive about immigration. I think the polls still show that. But
things are getting worse in Canada every single day. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, today's top stories, we have non-citizens, non-Canadian citizens are getting $7,000 per child. And this will be, it sounds like it's going to be back paid for a couple of years. Then they come here. So if they have 3 kids, you'll see here in the example, you know, each kid, like that ends up being 20 grand a year, 3 years, $60,000. Like, we're talking serious money here. So we've also got the Trudeau Liberals are having meltdowns. They're having tantrums. Justin Trudeau actually goes off on CTV. He's clearly pissed off. We'll break this down, but let's jump into this. First off, posted by Super Mario here. So this post here says you can be a PR or temporary resident and qualify for CCB with or without a sin, including children under 17 and backdated 3 years from the date of your citizenship or not. Quite the incentive for foreigners. Yeah, no kidding. Where's my $60,000 paycheck?
I honestly don't know why we bother paying taxes. My whole adult life, I was proud to pay taxes. I looked at it as a way to give back to Canadians, to people who couldn't afford the things I can. But today I just found out that the Canada Tax Child Benefit Program, that's not just for Canadian citizens. Refugees, immigrants who have landed here, you don't even have to have a SIN, a social insurance number, and the government gives you $7 grand a year for every kid that you have. It's almost $8 grand for any child under 6, and it's $6,500 for each child in between the ages of 6 and 17. And again, you don't have to be a Canadian citizen. You could be a permanent resident as identified by the Immigration Refugee Act, a refugee, or even a temporary resident. And even if Service Canada will not give you a social insurance number, they said just give us a reason why they won't and give us a photocopy of any of these things and we're going to give you money. These benefits that are set up with our tax dollars are being given to foreigners. What's worse is I hear that they're backdating it too. So that means that if you have 3 kids, let's say you move from another country and you're about to get your Canadian citizenship or not, it doesn't really matter, and their ages 1, 3, 5, and it's being backdated for 3 years, that's a $60,000 check you're getting from the government. Over $21,000 per year, our tax dollars. So please tell me, why on earth would anyone ever support this? Why would any Canadian citizen want this? When we have more homeless people than we've ever had. I'm seeing more people on the street. I've never seen this many people in the Burlington, Oakville area. There's tents all over the place. Canada's changed so much, it's wild.
Just my latest video on my second channel is about a 77-year-old woman who lives with her partner in a tent. She was kicked out of her rental place, and pensioner, she doesn't have the money. She lives in a tent on the street. It's heartbreaking. These are people who have paid taxes for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and now they're giving away $7,000. So we look at these numbers here. I like to verify this stuff. This is on Government of Canada website. There it is right here. So under the age of 6, $7,787 per year. Wow, $650 per month. And 6 to 17 years of age is you get about $1,000, $1,200 less, but still $6,500 per year. For a child born March 2025, you'll be eligible to receive You'll see, like, this is crazy. And by all means, if you come and immigrate to Canada the right way, we want you to come here, but you got to pay into our system to get access to a system. But in this case, these people don't pay into our system. They just get the system. This is so stupid and broken. People are going to stop paying taxes. That's what's going to happen here. Something to think about this too is, say if a mom comes over and then brings all 9 children from India, well then, like, that's crazy, right? They're gonna get $60,000, $70,000 a year just because they're bringing all these kids. Like, why do we have to pay for this? I can't afford to have kids because of Justin Trudeau. And now my taxes go to pay for other people's kids who came from another country. That's a load of crap. Next up, we've got Port Coquitlam Mayor Brad West calls to reopen mental institutions. He's absolutely ripping the government here.
How many British Columbian families have to go through this hell, this pain?
Port Coquitlam's Mayor Brad West says the senseless crimes highlight the need to reopen Riverview, the Coquitlam mental health hospital that housed thousands but was shut down in 2012.
How many more times does this have to happen before the government recognizes the historic stupidity of the decision to close Riverview Hospital? We need people like this to be off the streets and in an institution.
He's right. That's where those people should be. They shouldn't be on the streets where they can hurt people. People have problems everywhere. They need somewhere to go if they have serious problems. It doesn't make sense to shut these places down. Reopen and give the addicts proper help they need instead of coddling their addictions with these progressive injection sites. There's nothing progressive about leftism. Regressive, exactly. This is David Eby's policies on the safe supply. There's nothing safe about it. It's hurt our province so badly. They are quite literally doing everything possible to make things worse in this country. This is 100% the right thing to do across Canada. These people need help. Next up, we've got a selection of grumpy temper tantrum liberals, starting off with Karina Gould. Just check this out. Her condescending attitude, the way she talks to these reporters, really tells a lot about this woman. I believe they're asking if she's going to be in the House next week. I'm not exactly sure. You can't hear them, but that's what I think they're asking.
Okay. Well, I'll be happy. So I said my job is to be back in the House on Monday. I'm looking forward to being in the House on Monday, which means that I am going to be in the House on Monday. But I don't know if you'd like me to say that clearer.
Wow. That's so arrogant and condescending. Like, who talks like that? It's like she's talking down to like a child she's scolding. This is not parliamentary language. It's not. Ugh.
But what I will say is that when it comes to Mr. Poilievre, he is a stuntman. His announcement today is a political stunt. I think what Canadians want to see all of us as political parties doing is working for them, governing effectively.
She don't give a crap. She's all in the theatrical performance. She needs a wool sock for her mouth. Okay, next up, we've got this one, which is interesting. So we've got, I think this woman's a Liberal organizer. This is a long kind of speech here. She's basically kind of calling out Trudeau. It says, for the first time I ever met Justin Trudeau was at a party convention. He was relatively new MP from Quebec. I was running for regional president. I went up to him, introduced myself. I gave him one of my buttons, which said, Naka 2012. He said he couldn't wear it, but he'd keep it. I smiled and said, okay. I won that election, served on the executive board for my job to rebuild the riding associations after decimation post Ignatieff, and rebuild we did. Then I hopped on his leadership race, fast forward over a decade later, and here we are. I'm telling you this because I don't want to be doing this. I want to be fighting for my own party. But our great leader refused to call a ceasefire for months, struggled to find words to support international law, cut funding to humanitarian aid, basically supporting a starvation campaign. Malik protesters tried to silence pro-Palestine voices, refused to stop exporting weapons, while the receiving nation is on trial for a Geno word. And on top of that, mismanaged the economy and ignored the housing crisis. Justin, from the bottom of my heart, I love you, but you're not very good at this job. And for the sake of the Liberal Party, you need to resign. Wow, this is a Liberal organizer telling it straight to him. We got Justin Trudeau's alter ego replying here. Thank you for kissing my arse early in my career. Glad my support and incredible wealth because of my pharmaceutical stock has helped you excel yourself to great heights. Just ask, my media will help you further. It's all about liberal self-wealth. Regular Canadians can all go to hell. Peasants. This guy's account. So we've got another one here. So we've got Mark Miller, this guy. As it says here, provinces are rebelling and Liberals are going all authoritarians. Just to preface this clip, he's talking about the asylum seekers. So I mentioned this in the previous video. There's like 450,000 asylum seekers they're trying to divide up across the provinces, and each one getting 50 or 80 or 90 or 30 or 20 or whatever thousand each. And that's what he's talking about here.
Look, right now we could open up a hotel in any particular province and ship people there. That's an option. We have been moving people around to relieve pressure from Ontario and Quebec. It's not a financially viable model. It's not an effective model, but it's one that needs some reform in order to make sure the provinces are stepping up, looking at what their labor force needs are, what the capacity is to help some of these folks as they wait the determination of their protected person status, and it's one where we actually need coordination with provinces. Most of the provinces are at the table talking to us about what these models would be. It's far from being complete, but again, there's only so far the federal government can actually be nice and say, please, please. We also have levers that we need to pull and push, and provinces do get the benefit from immigration. So it's something that we need to deal with in a responsible fashion, and we expect every single province to be responsible.
So this part here where he says,
there's only so far the federal government can actually be nice.
There's so far the federal government can only be nice. We also have levers we need to Push and pull. Look at him talking about moving people around like there's some sort of pawn in a game. Oh, wait. Yeah, so what they're doing is trying to move a lot of these people to rural communities. That way they can try to get liberal voters in these conservative communities. Typically, liberals are more in highly densely populated areas and cities, big cities like Vancouver, Toronto, or wherever, Montreal. They're trying to tackle the conservative rural vote by moving these people out. It's funny here, I was thinking about the hotel thing, and there's a comment right here, open a hotel the size of effing Moose Jaw. How delusional is this guy? Increase our population by millions the past 4 years, has no idea what to do with them all. Yeah, exactly. Imagine 2,000 immigrants descending on Moose Jaw. What would that do for the community? Yeah, like this, it's too many people. We've got one more clip from this loser, Mark Miller, and he talks about how, as it says here, Canadians are still positive about immigration.
On Friday, in an interview with the Montreal Gazette, Immigration Minister Mark Miller said Canadians are still positive about immigration.
There are, and the strategic review that my department did, which sounds like a bureaucratic turn of phrase for most people, but it did show that Canadians are still positive about immigration. I think the polls still show that, but they don't want an immigration system that's out of control or that is going in a direction that doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, you think so, eh, Mark? Go ask your local neighbor about what he or she thinks of immigration, because every person I've spoken to says the same thing. Enough is enough. Close down the borders.
A side note, why are they doing a podcast in this diner? They've got this is weird. Why would you do this here? These liberals are so delusional. They think Canadians are still positive about immigration after it's literally broken every aspect of our country. The ship is sinking, the captain will abandon the crew, but the band plays on. Sensible immigration, yes. Trudeau's out of control mass immigration efforts, no. Exactly. We want the doctors, the engineers, etc. We don't want the street poopers, all the other, the car thieves, the pterodactyls, etc. Next up, we've got Poopy Pants Justin Trudeau. And to preface this clip, he's asked about doing more media, more radio media, and he goes on a full rant. And he specifically names CTV. He is not happy with CTV. And I'm guessing it's because Vasi Kapellos has been ripping him and every other liberal, a new one, for the past week. Like, she's probably had 6 or 7 interviews now where she's just obliterated all of them. And he probably doesn't like that because he knows it's hurting his numbers. But it's just interesting to hear him call it out, considering how much of our money he's given to CTV.
Good morning, Matt Gilmore, CTV News. I just want to ask you about the by-election that's happening on Monday in LaSalle and Margaretton. Another Liberal stronghold that appears to be up for grabs. You're here in Montreal today doing some local radio interviews later, something you haven't typically done as Prime Minister. How worried are you about this seat, and what does it say about the Liberal Party that a seat like this is potentially up for grabs?
Well, let me just correct you on one thing. I spend a lot of time talking to local media, local journalists, local radio right across the country. Maybe CTV doesn't notice, but I know Canadians do, because staying connected with people on the ground is really, really important. And I'm looking forward to going to see some old friends at CJAD.
He is very poopy pants. And I would like to correct Trudeau here. He doesn't do that many radio interviews, and that was the question. I know this because I cover all of Trudeau's garbage on here, and I look at all of it. I've put up, I think, 2, maybe 3 clips of him doing radio interviews in the past 9 months. Why is Trudeau so poopy pants about this? I don't know. He has just wanted to take a shot at CTV. Let's play that back one more time.
Right across the country. Maybe CTV doesn't notice, but I know Canadians do, because staying connected with people.
There's a lot of chuckling and going on in the background here too.
On the ground is really, really important, and I'm looking forward to going to see some old friends at CJAD. This by-election is really going to be an important moment of choice for Canadians and indeed for Montrealers. As a Montrealer, I know how important it is to make progressive choices for the future, to make choices that invest in our communities, investments like we're making here in St. Anne de Bellevue, but investments that also support families, whether it's the 650,000 seniors that we've helped go to.
This guy looks like a delusional lunatic. Just look at his face when he's talking.
Get dental care over the past number of months because of the federal program, whether it's more spaces in childcare that we've been working on with Premier Legault.
He looks like he's just in Spaceland. Like, look at him. Who is he? Is he playing Magic Eye? Is he looking through people? You know when you look someone right in the eyes and you look them in the eyes, you see that look. But this guy, it's like he's looking through them. I don't know what it is. I mean, I think he's mentally breaking. He's snapping. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about it. He's going through his divorce, Jagmeet breaking up, everything, mostly the narcissistic stuff of just getting decimated in the polls. Trudeau's body language is becoming less and less buttoned up. He's been a very polished politician. He's been buttoned up. He is more and more becoming just kind of unhinged and deranged and loose-lipped. And that's what you just saw with the CTV thing here. Now he's just going on and talk about all the great things he's doing with our money.
Whether it's investing in a school food program, and hopefully we're going to be able to sign on quickly with Cpac because money is on the table to send more support to the organizations delivering school foods across Cpac. These are things concretely that Montrealers care about. And one of the things that Montrealers care about the most is protecting the environment.
Oh, there it is.
Is fighting climate change.
There it is.
And we all know we don't have to debate about it anymore.
No.
Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives don't care about fighting climate change.
No.
But I'm going to say something that might surprise you a little bit. I do believe that Jagmeet Singh and the NDP actually do care about the environment.
Oh, yeah?
It's just increasingly obvious that they have no idea what to do to fight against climate change.
And your plan is to take $23 billion, give back $21 billion, keep $2 billion for yourself, spend $200 million administering that and telling us that we got more money than we paid in.
In the 2021 election, they had no serious environmental plan. And over the past years of our excellent agreement that delivered concretely for people on progressive priorities and made sure that Parliament was working for Canadians, they had no ideas on the environment. And one of the first things they do after walking away from that agreement to deliver progressive things for Canadians is walk away from any plan to fight climate change. We put a world-leading price on pollution across this country that does two things. It drops emissions and it puts more money back in the pockets of the middle class and people working hard to join it.
So the first thing he talked about right after the CTV thing, he went to Jagmeet and then climate change. So somehow this carbon tax, it can't just be him losing the election. Is he worried that this will push the election sooner? He won't be able to take as much of our carbon tax dollars. What is he doing with that extra money? Where is it going? Where is it being funneled? Is this your retirement plan, Justin? Were you stuffing that in your back pocket? Did you send some of that to Davos?
8 out of 10 Canadians in regions across the country that have the federal price on pollution get more money with the Canada carbon rebate.
False, wrong.
And yet Jagmeet Singh and the NDP are caving to the political pressures from Pierre Poilievre and from the Conservatives. That's just not on, and that's not what Montrealers expect and deserve. So I know there's a lot of people really disappointed with the NDP playing simple politics, walking away from progressive values, walking away from the fight against climate change, and totally caving to the political pressure from Pierre Poilievre. That's not what people in Verdun want. That's not what Canadians who are progressive, focused on the future, actually want. And I can't wait for the conversations we're having in Verdun, in LaSalle, in Emard this weekend, but also can't wait to welcome Laura Palestini to Ottawa as of Monday.
Ooh, pretty arrogant. He's going to win that by-election. What has he got up his sleeve? He wasn't this arrogant about the other one. You gonna grease the wheels there, buddy? You giving a little extra briefcases in the back door to somebody? What's going on? The vote counters? Trudeau's become an unhinged lunatic. I mean, he has been for a while, but he's just getting worse and worse. And speaking of CTV, I thought this was really interesting. It says 2 days before 2 by-elections, the CTV National News uses this visual when talking about the LaSalle, Emard, blah, blah, blah riding. Where is the Conservative candidate? Is this biased or incompetence? Yeah, where's the Conservative candidate? They've got the purple people eaters on here. I mean, let's get real. These guys are never getting any votes. Like, they're not going to get a seat. They're getting nothing. The Green barely even have their nose in the door. Meanwhile, we got this guy who's got Palestinian flags in his marketing material for a Canadian position. Get out of here. Where are the Conservatives? This is disgraceful, CTV. It's called election interference. You ain't seen nothing yet. The Liberals bought and paid for the media, and it's just only going to get worse in the Verdun, Emard, blah, blah, blah election. You look through here, it's just everyone's like, it's election interference, crooks and traders. This is what Canadians think. The Canadians are not like, oh, the climate change. We really need to worry about the climate change because grandma's sleeping on the street. Get real. Next up, we got this posted by Marty up north. It says, they literally think Canada is the land of milk and honey. This is ridiculous. So this post here says these folks were helping themselves to a farmer's corn near Ponoka. The joke's on them because it's feed corn. The person who took this pic asked them if they had permission, which they said yes. A call to the farmer showed otherwise, and the people were asked to leave. Like, don't steal from our farmers. You want to piss off Canadians, steal from a farmer. Farmers work their butts off. They don't deserve this. So next up, we've got this post here by Cat Canada. It says, man drops a hot Carl by bus stop. This is Yonge and Dundas Square in Toronto. These are the cultural enrichers that Trudeau has brought in. There he is, just... like, there's no shame with this guy. His shame left 15 years ago, if he ever had any. And he just, like, this is disgusting. Deport, immediate deportation. I'm not going to play the video. There he is there. There's a shot there. His butt is blurred. The camera does pull back. There is something there. I can't show that on YouTube, but it is a small submarine. The worst part about this is the guy just gets up, pulls his pants up. We all know you got dirty bum, dude. That's gross. That is so disgusting. This guy's walking around with Rocky Road between his cheeks like it's no problem. Cultural enrichment, exactly. Just so enriching to our culture. Got to get that dysentery just flowing through the streets. At this point, I mean, we should have a place that any Canadian can report stuff with video evidence and then charges are laid. Have hefty fines, $2,000 for dropping a hot Carl out in a public sidewalk or whatever. Like, just... let's do it. He didn't even wipe himself. Exactly. We got this one here posted by Table Salt. It says Sweden will now pay $34,000 to any immigrant, I think it's up to $34,000, who does not feel welcome and who does not want, or who is not integrated and want to go back home. Should Canada follow suit? Yeah, $34,000 to return. No. Why would we waste our money? We should just be opening the doors. Like, you want to go home? There's the door. By all means, go home. No, just send them back. We've paid enough. Why pay? Stop giving them resources. Exactly. We got this posted by Canada Proud. It says the Department of National Defense spent $34.8 million on new sleeping bags, which fail to remain warm under temperatures associated with a typical Canadian winter. Well, what is this? I'll dive into this a little deeper, but I mean, this here is Western mountaineering. These are the best sleeping bags you can buy. I'm a very avid hiker backpacker. I have an entire YouTube channel called I'd Rather Be Hiking, where I go backcountry hiking and backpacking. I do bushwhacking to the middle of Timbuk nowhere. So I'm just telling you, if you want the best sleeping bag, this is it. They're really expensive. You can see they're $700, $800, $900. If we go up here and go by season, click winter, we can sort by temperature rating. Here you go. By temperature rating, -40 Celsius. We've got $1,400. This is the best sleeping bag you can buy to go do what they need to do. These will be the lightest too. These use the most premium materials. And what they can do is actually buy one of these and then buy one of these lighter ones at the top here and double layer the sleeping bags if they really need extra. So if you just do the math on that, say with taxes and whatever, maybe you get a second smaller sleeping bag. It's $2,000 a sleeping bag. $35 million, which is what they spent, divided by $2,000, which is what each one of those sleeping bags cost, would buy you 17,500 sleeping bags. I have a hard time believing they bought that many sleeping bags. And what kind of sleeping bags did they buy? I'll take a look into this a little bit later, but I mean, this is just another Trudeau Liberal failure, clearly, because they didn't even get sleeping bags that are working for these guys. Pretty shocking with those child benefit numbers, you know, $7,000 per child, and these aren't even citizens, you know, people who just land on the door and then like, okay, even if they pay taxes for a few months, even a year, that does not give these people the right to have $7,000 of taxpayers' money. How is that fair? You've got seniors and people with pensions that have been completely run out by the Liberals. People living on the streets. I mean, I had my entire business destroyed by a hacker. I don't get a dime. I don't even get to write that off. I get nothing. I literally lost 8 years of work. Just deleted. Poof. Nothing. But a mother from India can come over with 10 kids and get $70,000 a year? This is preposterous. Things need to change in Canada.